Sigmund Freud likened our consciousness, or our minds, to an iceberg. There's a small amount up on top of the water, and then there's all of this other stuff that's happening below the surface. All of the things that are happening above the surface, the stuff that we can see, is our consciousness. In our consciousness, we're aware of ourselves, we're aware of our environment. It's all of our thoughts and our perceptions. Right below the surface is our preconscious, which is information that's not in our conscious or what you're thinking about at the moment, but it can be retrieved. So things like, what did you do last night? You can retrieve that information pretty easily. Below that is our subconscious or our unconscious level. And this is where Freud thought all of our unacceptable thoughts and urges existed, and they were hidden from us. We weren't aware of what was going on in our unconscious. An additional level of consciousness is our non-conscious, and many of our basic biological functions exist on this non-conscious level. For example, even if you tried, you couldn't sense your fingernails growing or your pupils in your eyes adjusting to light. You know that you're breathing in and out, but you cannot actually feel the exchange of carbon dioxide and oxygen. You may blink when you step from the dark into the light, but you can't actually feel your pupils growing smaller. It may be just as well that these events are non-conscious. After all, how much can a person hope to keep in their mind at once? And usually, we have no control over these functions, and most of the time, we're not aware of them. Now, some people have learned how to control some aspects of their non-conscious, like a heartbeat, like this man. He was able to do that through a system called biofeedback that we'll be learning a little bit more later about. Now, the word consciousness refers to our waking state, the state in which we are awake. But there are several altered states of consciousness in which a person's sense of self or sense of the world changes. When you doze off, you're no longer conscious of what's going on around you. So sleep is one altered state of consciousness. Other altered states of consciousness occur through psychoactive drugs, meditation, biofeedback, and hypnosis. And that's ultimately what we're going to be talking about in this chapter. We spend about a third of our lives asleep, and we don't really have a choice. Much of how people, animals, and even plants function is by something called circadian rhythms, or our biological clocks. The circadian rhythms in humans include a sequence of bodily changes, like those in body temperature, blood pressure, sleepiness, and wakefulness, and it generally occurs every 24 hours. The human circadian rhythms usually operate on a 25-hour day, but because of our sleep and wake cycle dealing with the sun, ours is usually around 24 hours. An example of the circadian rhythms is that when we're asleep, our body temperature falls to its lowest point between 3 and 5 a.m. each day. Now as we begin to fall asleep, your body temperature decreases, your pulse rate drops, and your breathing becomes slow and even. Gradually, your eyes close, and your brain moves into the first stage of sleep. Sleep researchers have found that we sleep in stages. Before 2007, sleep was divided into 5 stages, but since then, sleep researchers combined 2 stations, and now sleep is divided into 4 stages. About every 90 minutes, you cycle through 4 distinct sleep stages. Sleep stages are measured by an EEG that detects our brain waves. Stage 1 is the lightest sleep. As we enter stage 1 sleep, our pulse slows down a bit and muscles relax, but our breathing becomes uneven and your brain waves grow irregular. our brainwaves slow down from an alpha rhythm to the slower pattern of theta. This transition may be accompanied by brief, dreamlike images that resemble vivid photographs. Because stage 1 sleep is light, if we are awakened during this stage, we'll probably recall these images and feel as if we have not slept at all. During the transition into stage 1, it's also common to experience hypnic jerks. Those are the involuntary twitches that occur just as we're beginning to fall asleep, and it causes us to awake suddenly for a moment. You almost feel like you're falling. Stages 3 and 4 are the stages that have been combined, but generally we're in about 30 minutes each, and you experience delta waves, which are very, very slow. And you're hard to wake up during stage 3 or 4. Generally during this stage, children will wet the bed, and when sleepwalking happens, it's during this stage. Then suddenly we start breathing more irregularly, our blood pressure rises, our heart beats faster, brain waves become similar to those of stage 1 sleep. And this is a stage called rapid eye movement or REM sleep, because beneath our closed eyelids, our eyes are moving rapidly. The preceding 4 stages are known as non-rapid eye movement or NREM sleep because our eyes do not move as much during those stages. Brain energy use in REM sleep equals or exceeds energy use in walking, and the rate in non-REM sleep is 11 to 40% lower. Our 2 brain chemical systems work together to actually paralyze our skeletal muscles during this stage, and this is important so that we don't act out our dreams.